Event Mind.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do?
Yeah, this is my baby. So, well, it's not a baby anymore, but you know,
teenager. Is it a teenager? No, how old is it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Troubled teenager. I don't know.
Sometimes it can feel like that, but it's usually because the world is so troubled.
Yeah.
But so most companies struggle to choose the right event technology.
Yep.
They don't know who to trust, and they don't want to overspend. And what we do is provide trusted recommendations to companies who are running events as to the best event technology for them.
Okay. So I thought you were looking at
No? That's it.
I thought it was something else.
No, 20 seconds. That's it.
Do you then also go on and implement the project, or are you literally a middle person?
Yeah, we can do.
At least a little man, I would have got completely.
Yeah. No. So yes, we do. However, here's one thing that I've realized over the years of being in this digital tech space is that it doesn't matter what you're doing. Ultimately, you still need to choose some form of technology, right? So we could tell you about the rest of the strategy, but ultimately, you're still going to have to make a choice as to what tools and platforms you're going to use. And what we can see right now, this year more than ever, is there needs to be more transparency and there needs to be more trust in the market in general when it comes to event technology. There are some clear segments of the market emerging where developers are developing platforms now. You've got agencies developing platforms. You've got pre-COVID event tech companies who've pivoted and added on their virtual, and then you've got those that came up in the COVID period. So there's a lot of choice and not a lot of trust at the moment in the market. And one of the things, because Event Mind has always been tech agnostic, it's usually because I love tech in general, so it's very hard for me to commit to using one piece all of the time. So because we're tech agnostic, we've always given unbiased advice, and so that's why we are now really moving towards making sure we are the go-to resource for just finding out what the best or the right technology for your particular event is.
Sure, because I saw a post on LinkedIn today where you were talking about companies selling. Very right for the people that want it.
Yeah, and it's quite controversial because I know a lot of people feel differently about this. And but here's the thing, I could decide tomorrow to create a platform. I can partner with some developers from a development house. I know enough about the market. I've been doing it for how long? I can develop a piece. I've been asked before. I've thought about whether it's something we need to be doing. I could do that tomorrow and go out there and start selling it to companies. But who really says that we have the expertise? Who says we can be trusted? Who says that we're going to actually deliver what it is that we're promising? How do I know if I'm buying or using your company that I'm not paying over the odds in the market? Some of the pricing we've seen is absurd and complicated. So there's all of these things that we at Event Mind are now. We're starting to be like, no, this is kind of the price bracket that is reasonable for this particular type of event, or this technology can do trade shows. Because there's a lot, in the early days of COVID in particular, I saw a lot of companies just saying pivot to virtual. I also saw a lot of this all-in-one. No, there's no all-inclusive package for events, virtual and online events. So we saw that happening, and what we're seeing now, like any market, is starting to mature. And now we're in a position where the smart event tech companies will make sure their USP, they market on their USP. If your thing is lead generation, say that. If your thing is just hybrid, say that. If your thing actually is the networking piece, say that. You don't want people buying your tech because you promised them to do the all-in-one. And then when they try to do the all-in-one, it can't work. And then you have a dissatisfied client and you get really a poor reputation.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, as I said in my last role, so between March and August, we were looking at a whole load of different suppliers to take a bunch of tech shows online in the short term to replicate what we've done, but like virtual summits. And there was a lot of time spent, a lot of people, like committees, speaking to a lot of suppliers, when actually on reflection, we could have used someone like yourselves, cut through all that, had already had the knowledge. And whilst we would have to pay you to do it, it would have been cheaper given all the resource that
You running? I mean, we've seen companies come to us and they've been on like 75 demos. They still haven't made a decision.
Exactly. I sat on loads,
and there's no point. Yeah, there's no point. And the thing is, as well, is that look, there's loads of things I could talk about demos all day. The thing is that you're talking to a salesperson.
Yeah.
That's not who you need to be talking to when you're first curious or trying to explore what you're using. You don't need to be talking to someone who's trying to sell you something. Sure. You need to talk to somebody who is going to show you what the tech is actually capable of and what it can do for you. So I think at the moment it's the wrong way around. And that's why we are now we are automating our ranking system that we've been using internally. Okay. And we're going to create an automated tool so people can just come on the website, type in, their criteria, and it will just bring up a short list. And the other thing is the optimum number is 2 or 3. When I see people having like lists of 5 or 10, that's just, again, going to waste your time. It's possible to bring it down to 2 or 3 options. You make a choice in that option, and then you make it work. Yeah. That's it.
And in your opinion, just what makes a good virtual event? Because you've been invited to loads, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We all started to attend all of them at the beginning, and then we bloody boring. So what are the key components of a good to mobilize someone now, especially when they've got fatigue of this sort of stuff? Mm-hmm. And even yourself, what would make you go to it?
Yeah, I mean, more generally speaking, I always say this, and people hate the answer. Who are you trying to get to come to your event, and what do you want them to do? Answer those 2 questions, and then that's what you provide.
Sure.
That's it. All these generic blogs out there with lists of 20 things you must do, all the tools you must do. You could be in the manufacturing industry, so 90% of that blog may not even apply to your target audience. Yeah. So it's about knowing who they are, what you want them to do, and what they also want from you, especially if you've got an established portfolio of events. And then you have to match it. It's very simple. I mean, yesterday I was having a conversation with another industry peer actually, and she was saying, look, whoever comes up with a platform that sorts out this networking issue in the virtual space is going to be minted. And I was like, well, no. How do we make meaningful connections in real life? It's knowing who you are, knowing what you offer, and knowing which companies you offer that to well. Yeah. Then it's being in the right room with those people at the right time. Yeah. Technology is not ever going to replace you being able to articulate with clarity what you offer and who you want to work with. The same has to happen. It could be any platform. The organizer's job is to make sure that the right people are there, but it's your job as the attendee or the sponsor or to make sure that you have articulated clearly what it is you offer and you go into the room with the right people. That's just my view. Well, I don't think it's ever going to be,
Yeah, I think it's the same as it ever was. I mean, what do people want? How are you going to give it to the way that we deliver content and messaging has changed, but the central component of what we want to achieve has been the same.
I think so. I mean, technology, there's some jazzy stuff like, AI recommendation systems. So you can look at my interests, maybe my behavior online, my behavior at the event, and then match you with other people who are similar. Great. All you're doing is making it quicker, but it's still right room, right people. If I, though, cannot articulate what it is I do, who I serve, and I don't know who those people are, the tech still is useful because you can put me in the room and I won't know what to do either way.